What is there to say about Interlagos? It is a super iconic track, I think everyone can agree. Such a fun track as well, and can provide lots and lots of action. What's going to happen here in Tier 3? We'll just have to find out. Welcome along to Breakout Racing League's Tier 3 Championship, and we're here for the penultimate round of the championship. And, well, we are at the one, the only, Brazil. Interlagos, São Paulo Grand Prix. A very famous circuit, and a very iconic circuit. 15 corners make up this exciting track. Two DRS zones, one going down into turn 1, the Senna S's, and the other one going into turn 4, those two being your main overtaking opportunities. And, well, we've seen plenty of action at this track where, well, if you guys don't remember, we had a bit of an incident go on at turn 2, the middle part of the Senna S, where Verstappen and Hamilton collided at a safety car restart, and that gave Verstappen damage as well as Hamilton. Well, at the end of that, it became a Mercedes 1-2, Hamilton second, Verstappen finished in 4th, I believe. No, 5th, sorry. No, 6th, sorry, my brain. Let's also not forget, turn 4. Turn 4, where Verstappen shoved Hamilton way off the track at turn 4, and, well, he went off the track himself. Hopefully we don't see any of that, considering the fact that, well, there's nobody fighting for a championship. More on that in just a little bit. And we've had a little bit of action as well at turn 6, as that is Frizy losing his front wing completely. That's his qualifying little bit, in shambles at the moment, but hopefully he can get it settled with. But turn 6, where we saw Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc go at it, and Leclerc got tagged by the McLaren and went spinning round into the barrier at turn 7. Luckily, Leclerc was able to go through. Lando Norris unfortunately had to retire. And, well, there are many other places here that overtaking could be a possibility. And I might as well look over to the chat. Your host here is Minico, by the way, as per usual. It's still the same person, so you're still having to deal with my voice every day of the week. If you guys don't like it, unfortunately, I don't care. I'm just kidding. Anyways, look over at the chat here, see who's in here. Solar, how you doing? Cheering on Deemer there. Deemer currently on a lap assist at the moment. Meanwhile, his teammate goes on to provisional pole, but that is quickly snatched away by Kieran with a 1:08.2. 8.2. And Potato also in the chat saying he won Tier 3 last season here. That meaning the race, not the actual season, because the season one was won by Silencer, and Potato luckily did finish second, so there you go. But we'll move on from that. Let's quickly look over at the championship, and, well, like I mentioned a week ago, both championships have already been wrapped up. Gary wrapped up the championship at USA, and, well, he is your Tier 3 champion, as said before. But meanwhile, there's still a lot of places to look for, such as a potential close fight between Stig and Underdog for P2 in the championship. Gap between them is currently 19 points as it stands at the moment. Underdog, if he outscores Stig by, if my math is correct, 8 points, he will take P2 in the Drivers' Championship. Stig, 30 points ahead of Yortster, who's quickly being caught by the third place man, as I'm going to call him now. That being the Aston Martin of Koenigsegg, who's gotten 5 straight P3s in a row. You've heard that correctly. And he's currently in 5th, 18 points behind Yortster. Gert, 21 points following quite a decent points run, to be fair, as he jumps ahead of his teammate Redeemer. Kieran in 8th. He jumps up due to grabbing 2nd place in Mexico. Mexico was a wild one, by the way. If you haven't seen that, be sure to go check it out in BRL's Twitch. And then Echo in 9th. Quick Tongue rounding out your top 10, who I'm actually currently on board with right now, as he's already finished a lap. And Stig, apparently, his strategy has already been leaked due to the fact that Potato thinks he will do medium soft, which I have heard rumors. And by hearing rumors, I mean he literally told me firsthand. So, we'll see what Stig does, but yeah, that is I guess the strategy he may go for. As to whether that'll stick, I'm not entirely sure. And meanwhile, I actually go on board with Stig for a lap around Interlagos. Hard braking into turn 1 through the Senna S's. Make sure to get yourself neat and tidy and then set up for turn 2. Mercedes in the way for turn 3. Gets out of the way though for Stig. And now he can blast down the second overtaking opportunity with DRS. And Purple Sector 1 at the time being, braking into turn 4. Not really much of a hard braking zone. And then quickly set yourself up once again for turn 5. And then you see the uphill undulation up into turn 6 and turn 7 very quick. And, well, you are immediately back on the throttle, hard braking once again for turn 8, and then quickly switch to turn 9. Have to set yourself up very nicely. Make sure you get a decent exit out of here, in which Stig does. Through to turn 10 now. Very tricky corner. There are many different ways you can take that corner. And then you have to set yourself up once again for turn 11. And then hard braking into Timo Glock corner. Turn 12. My apologies. And then flat to the floor, and all you have to do is minimize the straight for the next 2 corners. I say that in quotation marks. And Stig gonna come across the line. Where does he put that Red Bull? It's good enough to put himself on the front row. So Stig currently lining up in second place, a bit of a ways behind Kieran, just under 2/10 at the moment. And yes, Solar, you got the reference absolutely correct. It's that Glock. Well, it's not Glock, unfortunately. It is Stig. And Stig putting it up on the front row. And, well, I don't know if that's going to stand. And, well, I know one person that is going to try and challenge all that. It's, that man in P3. You see him? Yeah? Gary? You see that name? Yeah. He still doesn't have a pole position. Still waiting on you, Gary. Where's that pole position, man? It's somewhere there. We're all waiting for it. We're all thinking about it. And right now, that's not the case. And by the way, one underdog actually went across the line. I just noticed. He went all the way up to second place, and he did it with by 69 milliseconds behind Kieran. Which Kieran is actually currently behind him on an out lap. So good lap there from one underdog. Unfortunately, it was not enough to supplant the Haas. That's good enough to put himself on the front row. Obviously, underdog following a win last week in Mexico, win in which he said he did not expect to happen. But regarding how Mexico went just a week ago, it happened. It happened, all right. And, well, there he is, currently in second place in qualifying and second place in the championship. The main person he's going to be looking out for in this race is obviously going to be Stig, because that is his main contender. Obviously, Yordster still in contention of grabbing second place, but that is obviously a very, very tall order for him to do. If he could do it, that'd be absolutely incredible, but, you know, he has to hope that Underdog and Stig have some very, very unfortunate moments throughout, not only here, but also, guys. Also, the season finale in Abu Dhabi, in which Abu Dhabi, if you guys obviously do not know, has had a bit of a layout change. So if you guys want to see these drivers go through that layout change, well, be sure to tune in then. Meanwhile, here is your champion of Tier 3, Gary. He is going to start his second flying lap of this qualifying session through to the Senna S's turns 1 and 2. Very, very nice indeed there from the Mercedes, blasting down the straight into turn 4 as Kieran goes even faster with a 1:8.2. And he's now a tenth and a half, just over a tenth and a half ahead of Underdog as it stands at the moment. Meanwhile, Gary, he's a couple hundredths up on his lap time as he's now going through the tricky Sector 2. One of the trickiest Sector 2s, I must say. And again, this is coming from someone like me, but, you know, It is what it is. And while he's negotiating it very nicely, obviously hard on the throttle there, it's obviously getting him as much time as possible. And then crossing, oh, he's actually a little bit down. He's a little bit down on his time, is the Mercedes. Has he gained enough, though, to gain a lot of time down this straight? He's a bit touch and go on ERS by the looks of it. And he actually abandons the lap immediately. So Gary abandons the lap, and he will not go any better than 4th as it stands at the moment. Still some time to go here left in qualifying, and right now, out of the 14 drivers that we have, 12 drivers have a competitive lap time. Echo not exactly having a good first lap time. As Koenigsegg, he is a little bit up on his time. However, he is low on ERS, as that is a Ferrari that was in the way there. But luckily, the Ferrari got out of the way of the English. I fail to word. Anyways, he's getting out of the way of Koenigsegg, but Koenigsegg was immediately going into the pits. So, at the end of the day, doesn't really matter. If you guys hear some weird background noises, by the way, it's because through this qualifying, I'm kind of building a Ferrari. A Ferrari Daytona. And you're probably wondering, why? Why am I doing this? It's because I just want to. Because obviously qualifying is a bit of a tall order. So if you guys hear a little bit of background noise, then, that will be why. But don't worry, I'll be there fully for the race. So don't you worry about that. But I'm kind of rushing this a little bit. Meanwhile, Redeemer, purple sector 2 as it stands at the moment. As to whether that's true or not, I don't know. You can't really tell with this game, to be perfectly honest. But he's now blasting down the main straight. Where does he put that Alfa Romeo? He's up 1 position, and as he goes into P5, and La Balloon has had a crash. He's crashed all the way at turn 7. La Balloon, out of qualifying, he will start, at best, 12th. Which I assume was not what the Haas would have wanted. Obviously, still searching for points, he said. He's still searching for his first points of the season. And unfortunately for him, that has not come rather easily. As Echo, I think he's off. Yeah, he's no longer on a lap. So the Mercedes, obviously Mercedes being your constructors champions of Tier 3. And well, Echo, he still wants to grab another podium, maybe even grab another win. It's not out of the question as to whether he can or can't. It's possible. It's definitely possible. I would like to see him get another podium. He does have a podium to his name. That was back all the way in Imola, if my mind serves me correctly. It's not been the best of times for him. He does have a pole position. He does have a podium, but unfortunately that win has just not quite been there for him. We'll see if he can do it. As Yorster is going to come across the line, and he's going to start his final flying lap of... final? Second. Something like... I don't know. Words fail me once again. You are absolutely correct, Echo. It was in Baku. A track in which I absolutely love. And, well, Echo, if you know what I'm talking about when I say that I absolutely love that track, you know what I mean. 3 seasons ago. Feels like a long time ago. P7 to P9 all the same time, says Potato. And, well, would you look at that? He is spot on with that. Koenigsegg, James B, and Gert have all set a lap time of 1:08.815. Where have you ever seen that? Oh, wait, I remember. It was a pole position for, was that Adelaide? I don't remember. It was pole position for, I believe, Villeneuve, Schumacher, and Franson, I want to say. Franson? Heinz Harald? I don't know. But it's still not something you often see. The Koenigsegg, he comes across the line, and he now only makes it 2 people with the exact same lap time, and Koenigsegg moves himself up into the front row. So still, nobody has been able to challenge that Haas for pole position. Obviously, Kieran, he's well known for his pole positions. Needless to say, he's already got like 6. I'll actually look at the stats right now. Give me one quick second. He has 5. He has 5 pole positions to his name, so he is not... He's got some nice times with pole position. Obviously, he has a couple wins to his name. Can he grab another one? It's not at all out of the question, but, you know, he's had a good time. He has had a good time with pole position. Let's see what he can do if he can keep that pole position. Maybe even go even faster. He is on an outlap. So, the final flying laps are going to start to come in as Stig is actually going to come across the line in just a couple moments' time to finish his final flying lap. As I am missing a piece. Oh dear. I know you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but oh dear. As Stig comes across the line, someone finally supplants the Haas of Kieran and goes on to provisional pole. Stands a moment by 29 milliseconds, though. And Kieran is going to try everything to beat that lap. Meanwhile, Gary, he's going to be one of the first to come across the line, I think. No, actually, no, he's going to finish his lap time. And he doesn't improve on his position. He's not improved on his position, so Gary will start at least 5th. I believe one of the first few people is actually going to be... Is that the Mercedes of Echo? No, he's starting our final flying lap, so we're going to go on board with the coach now. So the coach is going to be one of the few to finish his final flying lap as it stands at the moment, and the coach, well, not exactly had the best of times. And, well, hopefully he can end this season on a high. We will just have to find out. As of right now, he's got to get through qualifying. Currently 13th as it stands at the moment. And, well, he's 1.3 off a loud balloon. Well, maybe if he can find quite a bit of time, that will be good enough, but we'll just have to see. He's 6/10 up on his lap time is the coach at the moment. So he is finding that time. He is finding crucial time. Can he improve on his position? As that was someone that retired. That was Stig. Stig retired, so his qualifying is done. The coach is going to come across the line. He does not improve better than 13th. As Kieran does not beat Stig. Kieran does not beat Stig to pole position. James B doesn't come across the line. He only goes up to 6th. Redeemer at the 7th. What about Gert? Only 9th. As Quick Tongue hasn't validated. Is my thing broken? No, it's not. I'm just dumb. What about Underdog? Can he do anything? No. He's invalidated. So far, nobody able to find those times. Nobody is able to get those times. Echo, he's invalidated as well. But he's still going to come across the line, see what he can do. No, he's backed out. He's backed out. So never mind that. What about anybody else? Is anybody else on a lap time? Nope. Gary is done. Wow. Very anticlimactic. That's very anticlimactic. Needless to say. But Stig, out of absolutely nowhere, finally supplants the Haas of Kieran. And Stig will be on pole for the São Paulo Grand Prix. His 4th pole position of the season. Kieran will have to settle for the front row. Koenigsegg will line up 3rd ahead of Underdog. Then it's Gary in 5th ahead of James B. Then it's Alfa Romeo, McLaren, Alfa Romeo with Redeemer getting the head of Yortster and his teammate Gert. And I forgot the rest of the top 10. But Stig able to grab pole position. And Stig apparently has the flu. At least so he says. So, I mean, fair play. And, well, pole position for you, man. Not often that happens, does it? There you go. So anyways, I'll go through the qualifying order while I'm still at it. But Stig is on pole for the São Paulo Grand Prix ahead of Kieran. That's Koenigsegg in 3rd ahead of Underdog, followed by Gary. And that's James B, Redeemer, Yortster, Gert, Quick Tongue, rounding out your top 10. Echo, La Balloon, the coach, Pricey, unable to find the lap times to get up into the top 10. But all is to play for here in Brazil. Oh, and I completely missed you. Sorry about that. Hello, henchman. How you doing? I'm sorry. I didn't quite see your name there. I was a bit distracted a little, but yeah, good to see you here, henchman. Hopefully you enjoy this race. Ooh, looking a little cloudy. Look a little cloudy here in São Paulo. Does that bode well? I don't know. And No Limit cheering on Stig for this Grand Prix. Stig doesn't have many fans, but it's good to see that he has at least one. At least. So, yeah. There you go. So you're going to have to excuse me for a moment as I am going to quickly go and do something for just a little bit. You miss your BRL days. Well, there's still a chance to come back. You can still always come back. So if you ever want to, henchman, it's up to you. But as they are going to go underway for formation lap and also to get their setups in, I will be right back. So you're going to have to enjoy the pit lane a little bit. Maybe look at those marshals and laugh at them because they're just standing there. I don't know. And just like that, we're back. Sorry about that. I just had to quickly go and do something. But we're good. We're good. And good news for those that even give a damn. I found the piece that I was missing for my Ferrari. So, I found it. And it is almost complete. I know that's such a minor thing that you guys probably don't care about. But I care about it, okay? And, well, it's coming along very nicely. Such a minor thing that I like, but here we are. You just gotta appreciate the little things. And I'm missing a piece. Hang on. No, Potato, you are not stealing my Ferrari. I'm sorry to break it to you, but this Ferrari is rightfully mine. Yes, Stig, I am building a Lego Ferrari. Yes. It was only through qualifying, though. I'm going to pay attention during the race. So, chill. Oh, sorry about that. But yes, I am building one. For the sake of, well, just killing time, I guess. I don't know. If you want to know what Ferrari it is, it's the Ferrari Daytona SP3. It's a very nice looking car. But anyways, it's near about done, by the way. Just so you guys know, not that you care. But it's pretty much, it's almost done. It's almost done. So, yeah, I just have one little bit. At least you know it won't develop throughout the seasons. F. Well, it's not gonna develop. It's an old car, but it's a very nice car. So, I'm not worried about development. I'm more worried about the aesthetic, you know? And the aesthetic is very pleasing. But anyways, going through the formation lap while we're at it, and let's look over at the tires. And, well, I'm seeing a lot of yellow striped mediums on the grid, that being the top three, as well as Jane's B, followed by Quick Tongue, Lab Balloon, DeCoach, and Frizy, all on the medium compounded tire. Underdog, Gary, Redeemer, Yardster, Gert, and Echo, all opting to go onto the hard compound of tire for the start of this Grand Prix. And well, 36 laps here in Interlagos. It is going to be an exciting one. It's going to be a fun one. Is there a possibility of rain? I don't know. But if there is, oh boy, that just makes things all the more exciting. Who knows what's going to happen? But once those 5 red lights go out, it is all to play for. Who will grab the checker flag first? Who will fall? who will come out on top. It's the penultimate round of the season. Both championships may be wrapped up, but that is not going to prevent Tier 3 and us as well, the spectators, from having a little bit of fun as we're coming near a close of the formation lap. And it's almost like these guys are racing by how quick they're going, but they've all slowed it down now, luckily for them. And now they will line up on the grid. How will they position their cars is the question. It's down to them. So I just broke something, I think. We're good. As henchman is cheering everyone good luck in the race. We'll see. No disqualifications so far. Oh, could we get a first ever? Ah, Frizy. Anyways, 5 red lights are on. No, they're not. Hang on a minute. I can't exactly see the lights. Here we go. 5 red lights are on for the São Paulo Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go. And it looks like a pretty decent start for the Red Bull, but even better start for the Haas. And Kieran is going to lead into turn 1. Stig with a bit of lag there, but luckily no collisions caused. But Kieran leads from Stig, from Gary, from Underdog, from Koenigsegg. There's someone at the back. That's James B. James B's gone round at turn 1. But going through to turn 4, Kieran from Stig, from Gary, then Underdog, Koenigsegg, Yortster, Redeemer, a bit of switching back between Echo and Gert. Will go over to that as it looks like the Mercedes has gotten the Alfa Romeo, and indeed he has, and now the Alfa Romeo is under pressure from the coach. And is Gert going to be able to hold on to that position? Yes, he does. So Gert up in 11th. The coach trying to challenge once again, but Gert able to hold on to that still. But Kieran leads from Stig, and 8/10 right now between them as they're going through the tricky Sector 2. And we might as well look, at the position changes. As so far, the biggest gainers have been Gary, Yortster, Quick Tongue, and Loud Balloon. The biggest loser of all that has been James B, down 8 positions and a long ways out the pack. Kieran leading 1.1 seconds ahead of Stig. He's had a barnstormer of a start as he will lead the first lap of 36. Meanwhile, battle position for P7 is Quick Tongue and Redeemer going at it, and Quick Tongue trying to go around the outside into turn 1. I think Redeemer simply let that go, and indeed he has. And Quick Tongue has moved himself up into 7th place. Redeemer down into 8th. I just want to quickly mention once again, Gary with a brilliant start on the hard competitor. He's up into third place, and a purple Sector 1, fastest Sector 1 of the session. So he's had a brilliant start, and he looks to be pushing that even further. The cold temperatures seem to be helping him a little bit at this stage of the race, potentially. Oh, and that is an AlphaTauri. That's Quick Tongue. Quick Tongue's had a moment, and he has fallen all the way down to P14. Not what the AlphaTauri wanted in that battle for second place in the Constructors' Championship. I forgot to update on that, by the way. I will in just in a little while's time. But more on that in just a little bit. But Kieran, once again, leading. He's been caught a little bit this time around by Stig, and that's a yellow flag once again. I think the coaches had a moment, but Stig sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 1:11.2. So Stig starting to close in onto the back of that Haas, as now James B sets the fastest lap with a 1:11.0. So the Williams absolutely flying right now, and Stig closing up onto the back of Kieran. So this battle for the lead is definitely going to go down is between these two, and then Gary, bit of a gap between him and Stig as he's trying to close up. Meanwhile, one Underdog is closing up on what would have been his championship rival, but Gary was simply too consistent. But Underdog is still going to give him a tough time at this stage of the race. So far, everything a little bit calmed down for now. Loud Balloon has moved up 5 positions, by the way, so he's had a brilliant start. He's up to 7th now, is the Haas. So both Haas's moving up positions in the first stages of this Grand Prix. But now that everything's settled, DRS has now been available for the drivers, and this is where it's going to prove absolutely crucial, especially for the likes of Stig, as he is closing up onto the back of Kieran, closing in with that DRS, with the fastest lap of the race now. And now 4 tenths between them, 5 tenths between him and Kieran as it stands at the moment, but he's not exactly getting the exits out of the center S and throughout the rest of the lap. He's not able to make a challenge as of yet. Meanwhile, further behind, you see Gary leading a 3-car train between him, Underdog, and Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg able to hold on despite losing 2 positions off of the start. And then there is a 4-car train, 5-car train nearly, from Loud Balloon all the way down to James B. So that includes Loud Balloon, Echo, Redeemer, Gert, and James B. And James B is now within DRS range of the Alfa Romeo. And he's trying to make up for that start, and he's probably filled up with quite a bit of anger. And look how close is Stig. Look how close he is on the back of Kieran going through down this straight. And he could very well have a little bit of a look, though. Kieran is using everything he has to pull away from Stig down that straight. Obviously, Kieran doesn't have DRS. Stig does. So Stig is able to claw all that time back with DRS. And I don't know why I had the telemetry up. I'm gonna close that. We don't need to see that. We don't need it. But Stig, once again, having DRS down the straight, not able to make an impact. He's not close enough. Meanwhile, Echo's made the move on Loud Balloon, and now Echo's moved himself up into 7th, though Loud Balloon's gonna try and challenge into turn 4 on the inside. Echo trying to do something about it, but Loud Balloon has that inside line, and he clears the Mercedes. And now Loud Balloon is back up into 7th place. Echo down to 8th, and now has a rearview mirror of Redeemer as it stands at the moment too. Alfa Romeo's actually behind him, you can see that right there, and then followed by Williams, in which James B is really close up onto the back of these guys. So pretty close for that battle for 7th place at the moment, and Echo, could be looking for a move. That's contact, and Redeemer's going round. Redeemer has hit the back of Echo. Echo luckily was able to escape no problem, but Redeemer running into the back of the Mercedes, and that is not what the Alfa Romeo wanted. The past couple of races for Redeemer have not been kind to him. If we look over, yeah, DNF 7th, 12th for the Alfa Romeo after following the highs that were the start of this race, but luckily that has all completely fallen down. Meanwhile, battle for P9 not quite happening. Not quite happening between these guys. Though James B is closing up with down this straight. It's not going to be enough, though. That is a yellow flag. Frizy has had a moment, I think. Kept it out of the barrier, though. And now he's under pressure from Redeemer. Redeemer trying to go around the outside. And, well, that was a bold move from Redeemer. He moves himself up into 13th. Frizy down to 14th. Frizy not having a good time right now. And now he is down in plumb lost as it stands at the moment. Potato saying Stig shouldn't burn his ERS, as that could pressure Kieran. He could pressure Kieran into getting penalties, and well, you are spot on with that. But Stig also has to be even careful because Gary is back within that DRS range of that Red Bull. So theoretically, Gary could pressurize both of them. Still all to play for. It is still all to play for. Stig going a little bit deep into the corner. That has cost him a bit of time, and well, luckily he has DRS to close all that time back, but he's lost a bit. And meanwhile, Alpha v Alpha, looks like they're going wheel to wheel actually through the center S in the turn 1, turn 2. As Quick Tongue goes round the outside of Gert, and Quick Tongue moves himself back up into the points. Meanwhile, James B and Echo were going at it, and James B looks to have dispatched the Mercedes and up into 8th place, and could very well be on the back of Loud Balloon for P7. Closing up all the time is that Williams. So James B looking pretty quick right now. Obviously, that first lap incident, I don't know what happened, but that's definitely shooken him a little bit, but he is back up into nearly where he needs to be, and right now he is supporting Logan Sargent's soon-to-be race number. For those that don't know, obviously Logan Sargent is going to be a Williams driver, and he is using number 2, and that is exactly the number that James B is using. So James B harnessing the power of American power, I guess you could say, of Logan Sargent, as he has the DRS, and he's going to blast away from that Haas, and James B moves himself up into 7th place. He's managed to recover well, and he has moved himself up into the top half of this race. Meanwhile, Redeemer has made a move onto Coach, and Redeemer is now up into 12th to Coach and down into 13th as it stands at the moment. Meanwhile, La Balloon trying to challenge once again on James B. Goes a little bit deep, though. And that might invite Echo, as actually Quick Tongue has had a moment off a turn 4. Lost his front wing completely. Will that trigger a virtual or a full course safety car? Looks like it won't. And Quick Tongue now having to pit. No longer has a front wing. Yep, beer all on Fridays. That's still a thing. Welcome back, Daniel. It's been a while since I've seen you, not gonna lie. But good to see that you're back. Meanwhile, Echo could be looking for a move on Loud Balloon. He's trying to go around the outside into the final corner. Can't do anything still. Great angle, by the way. As there's actually a 3-car battle. That is a Ferrari going off. 3 wide, and that's huge contact. That is huge contact. Loud Balloon is out of the race. Echo's been spun around. Gert has also, well, he was involved as well. 3-car battle, 3 wide, and that has ended absolutely wrong. And with that, that will undoubtedly cause a full course safety car. I'm not surprised by that safety car whatsoever, because Loud Balloon is parked in a very, very dangerous spot. And Echo, well, what kind of damage does Echo have? It looks like he's actually escaped. He's actually escaped with a bit of damage, with no damage. So, Echo was able to continue on. But Loud Balloon out of the race on lap 9 of this Grand Prix. And Loud Balloon saying, bruh, after that, and well, I can't really phrase that any better. We'll have to get a look at that. We'll surely have to get a look at that later on, but that is definitely going to be a steward's report. And well, as to how that will go, I'm not entirely sure, because they were 3 wide down the straight. 3 wide, not often you see that, but it happened. And well, it was just maybe a little bit of a misunderstanding. Car in the middle of that 3 wide was left no room. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened. He was left no room, and with that, they obviously collided, and that caused a bit of a conundrum. I wish there was a race director mode. I 100% agree. I wish there was a race director, because then I could see what happened, and I could decide the penalties. I would decide the penalties. I'd be so much of a menace. But no. I'm not going to do that. He went off the track, went back on, and hit Gert. So, Potato saying that Echo was the cause of that. As to whether that's true, I'm not entirely sure, but it was definitely it's definitely going to be something. Race director plus red flags would make league racing so much better. I agree. I agree. It would make league racing better. It'd make it more a bit of a there'd be more factors going into that. So, safety car now out on this lap, and Stig opting to stay out on those medium compact tires. Gary, Underdog, also staying out as well. Obviously understandable between Gary and Underdog. Same with the 2 Alfa Romeos of Gert and Redeemer. Same with Echo as well. So it doesn't look like any Echo has had any damage. But obviously, Kieran, Koenigsegg, Yordster, James B, and Quick Tongue all opted to pit. As well as Frizy. Frizy's into the pits right now. So a couple of people obviously opting to pit underneath the safety car. And obviously, it's a bit of a cheap pit stop. It's almost a free pit stop, depending on where you are. Oh, what the? Did anybody else catch that for Sting? I crashed with something like in my league earlier. Yes, it was. Potato, was he the car on the outside? If so, I agree. I'm not entirely sure. I'll be perfectly honest. And to answer your question, Junior Robinson, it is more than just a PC league. It is a crossplay league, as Daniel put in the chat. So we obviously have crossplay enabled, as you can clearly see with James B down in P11. He is actually on PlayStation. Is the Williams, so crossplay fully engaged in BRL and just across all of BRL right now, which is great to see. Obviously, it's great to have that finally included, and I must say there haven't really been many issues. So luckily, that is all good to go. So, Junior Robinson, if you want to join, you are more than welcome to. And well, as Daniel put in the chat, there is the Discord. So, if you want to join, go right ahead. I don't know if I want to repeat what Potato said or not, but it was an interesting moment between, yeah, it was an interesting moment between the safety car and Stig there, but luckily that was just a little bit of lag, and we'll call it a day after that. There's a bit of switching going on further back. I'm not sure what's going on, but luckily that's all been settled. And safety car should be in on this lap, and oh, there was even more of it. There was even more of it. There you go, Potato. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? I don't know. And Stig is saying he's lagging his butt off at the moment, and well, we can see it. You've ran into the safety car twice and basically mounted it. We saw it. We saw it. We've seen it. It's happened. Be one of the few Brits. There's actually a lot more British people in this league than you think. Gary's British, I can tell you that much. So Gary's a Brit. As safety car is in this lap. So Stig gonna lead us across the line to resume this race. And well, is he gonna do it like Max Verstappen? Is he gonna leave it late? Is he gonna go for early? His call. Gert confirmed. Echo was on the outside. Echo tapped Gert. So that is what happened. As to what kind of report that will be, we'll have to find out, as Stig is gone, and he has completely left Gary out for dust. And on lap 13, the race has officially resumed, as Stig leads from Gary, from Underdog, though Kieran and Underdog going at it into turn 1. The Underdog able to plant that AlphaTauri absolutely perfectly. But Kieran is going to have a second bite of the cherry. And down this straight he goes. He's got DRS. He's got Slipstream. Is it going to be enough, though? No, it's not. As there's a bit of conundrum going on for the back. Redeemer's falling back. Meanwhile, to Coach and Echo going at it. And Echo's managed to dispatch the Red Bull. And up into 7th. The Coach down into 8th. Now Yortster could have a little bit of a look. The Coach trying to climb back onto the back of Echo. Can't do anything still. Frizzy's retired. And that is a crash off of turn 5. Is it going to cause another safety car? James B down the inside. Into turn 8. He makes that move stick. Meanwhile, Underdog and Gary going at it for second place as it stands the moment, and it looks like Underdog has managed to get past the Mercedes. He has. So Underdog has managed to catch up to Gary and moves himself up into second. Gary now down to 3rd and could even possibly be down to 4th as Kieran is closing in on these guys. And Kieran playing a little bit safe. He knows he has a pit stop advantage as it stands at the moment. And he's got the slipstream. He's got that straight line speed. He could very well have a look into turn 1. He thinks about it, but just backs off. And he's probably going to think about it somewhere else. So quite a bit of fighting off that safety car restart, but so far, no real big things except for Frizzy, who crashed off of turn 5. We'll have to see what exactly happened, but that's super unfortunate there. So far, Stig leads from Underdog, from Gary, from Kieran, then Koenigsegg, rounding out your top 5. Kieran and Koenigsegg have already pitted in this race. So the top 3 yet to pit as it stands at the moment. And Stig building a bit of a gap between him and Underdog, and that's Gary! That's Gary! That's gone off! He hasn't hit the wall, so he's able to keep on going, but a massive error there from Gary. He's fallen all the way down to 8th, the championship. I keep saying championship leader, but he's already the champion. He's already won the championship. So the champion of Tier 3 having a huge moment. He's not going to be under pressure here from James B, in which James B is trying to place himself in a brilliant position as Gary's looking for the move, and Gary's got the move. James B thinking about it is not going to try to go around the outside. That's contact. That is contact between James B and the coach. I think the coach has just spun around James B. And well, James B, it was looking so nice. He was looking oh so quick, but now it has completely unraveled for him. He was having such a good comeback race. And it's all just fallen as your start nearly hits the back of the coach. And no, that's Quick Tongue. Quick Tongue's gone round. And, well, he's going to try and rejoin the track safely. He does, just about. And there we go. He touches outside on wheel on the grass, no contact. He definitely was on the position. I'm not unsure, because he spun rather weirdly. It's a little strange. Meanwhile, battle for P2, and Kieran looks to easily dispatch that AlphaTauri, and he has. Kieran moves himself back up into second place. And, well, patience. Patience was what Kieran needed, and, well, he had enough. So Kieran now up into second place, underdog to third, and Koenigsegg closing behind on these guys. Meanwhile, Gert and Echo could potentially be going at it. Echo unable to make a move on the Alfa Romeo, and so he'll have to stay behind in 6th at the moment. Gert in 5th. Thoughts on the World Cup? I'm gonna completely level with you here. I haven't paid attention to it. I haven't paid attention to the World Cup. And I'm just going to say this right here, right now. Football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. It ain't my thing. It's not my thing. So, I haven't really paid attention to it. I saw that Canada is in contention. Obviously, me being a Canadian, it didn't really matter to me. Because that doesn't... It doesn't mean much, to be perfectly honest. We're more focused on hockey. You feel? Us Canadians are more hockey nerds, if anything, rather than football nerds, or soccer nerds, however you want to call it. Meanwhile, Echo's looking for the move on Gert, and Gert, closing the door a little bit. Closing the door on on Echo, and Echo unable to make the move into turn 1. He's going to have a second bite of the cherry with DRS once again down the straight. He's closing in onto the back of Gert. He's going to try and go around the outside. Gert just covers it off very nicely. Gert putting in all the stops. And, well, he's able to hold on to 5th place as it stands at the moment. It's very good defensive, but honestly, clean. Clean defending there from Gert. And Potato's apparently agreeing with me. With what exactly? Like, as in, like, it doesn't really matter to me, or... I'd like a little bit of context. So far, this is really the closest battle as it stands at the moment, as Echo and Gary actually closing in on the Alfa Romeo. And, well, Echo's going to have another bite, and he's going to try and have a look on Gert. Gert defending that inside line, and Echo just not able to close up enough. And, well, this begs the question on what Mercedes do in this situation, because Gary theoretically could be faster at this stage of the race, though Echo could be faster. What do the Mercedes agree on at this stage of the race? What do they try to do as Echo, once again, unable to pull off the move on Gert, and he's staying behind once more? World Cup stuff, as in, like, it doesn't matter, but, like, you do your thing, as in, like, football, soccer. He's saying it's just, like, it doesn't matter what you call it. It's not that big a deal. Because if so, then fair enough. It's just my opinion on it. I'm not trying to stir anything up. I don't try to stir anything up in terms of conflicts and stuff like that. Like GIF and GIF, I don't care how you call it. So if you want to call it soccer, call it soccer. If you want to call it football, then you call it football. It kind of depends on where you're from. Kind of. Koenigsegg closing up onto the back of Underdog, but nothing doing. So he's staying behind a little bit longer. They might have another bite as the coach is into the pits on lap 18. And now the coach... Oh, that is a yellow flag as Koenigsegg's trying to go around the outside. Can't do anything at it. Redeemer's had a moment. They're off of turn 2. This has not been Alfa Romeo's day as it stands at the moment. As now James B is looking for the move on Redeemer. Redeemer trying to go around the outside. The Redeemer actually has front wing damage. And, well, that looked to be pretty easy there for James B. James B moves himself up into 9th. Redeemer down to 10th. And will probably have to pit. And I might as well just quickly touch on this while we're in a bit of a dead zone, I guess you could say. Battle for P2 in the Constructors. It could be sealed up. It could. As Stig is going into the pits. Stig is into the pits on lap 19 of this Grand Prix. And what's that going to be? That is a set of hards. So he abandoned his medium soft strat, as I was told. And now has opted to go on to a fresh set of hard compounded tire. The race leader now all the way down in 7th as it stands at the moment. That gifts the lead now to Kieran ahead of Underdog, ahead of Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg now, he's net P2. Yordster is net P3. He's going to be under pressure from Stig, though Yordster is on the medium. I don't think those mediums are going to last 17 more laps. So, halfway through this race, and, well, then might as well beg the question, who do you think is going to finish on the podium at this rate? I bet he killed his mediums. But he had 18 laps on the medium, so if he didn't, I'd be surprised. As Underdog has gone into the pits. Underdog into the pits. So Koenigsegg is now released into 2nd place. And now he can potentially try and chase after Kieran for the lead of this Grand Prix. That's going to promote the 2 Mercedes up to 3rd and 4th, and Yordster up into 5th. And Underdog, well, he's going to come out probably 7th, maybe even 8th. Looks like it's going to be 8th there for the AlphaTauri on a set of mediums. So this could potentially go to the end. Well, it can go to the end of this race, considering the fact that Stig did half the race on mediums. And, ooh, bit slow out of the pits there, but he comes out around 5 seconds behind James B. He's going to have to warm up those mediums as soon as possible. And, well, I bet he's thinking the guy in front of him, maybe someone he remembers, because obviously Underdog and James B, they fought for the title last season in Tier 4. So they would know each other. They would know each other as title rivals. And Underdog obviously grabbing that championship in Tier 4, being the Tier 4 champion of Season 8. And, well, he's potentially trying to grab that 2nd place, that runner-up spot in Tier 3. A little bit more competition, but I think we can safely say that Underdog's had a pretty good season. As meanwhile, the 2 Mercedes, Linus Stern at the moment, and Gary ahead of Echo, ahead of Yordster. Stiggs has the fastest lap with a 1 minute 10.4. So that is the fastest lap that we've seen at the moment. And he is trying to chase after these front guys. Still, anything could happen in this Brazilian Grand Prix. Anything could happen. And it usually does. It's a bit of a Murray Walker quote. For those that don't know him, legendary commentator. Legendary. Unfortunately, he passed away, I think, like a year or 2 ago? I'm not sure. But he was just absolutely iconic, was Murray Walker. And, well, it's sad to see him pass, but he brought in some good moments, such as a lump in his throat. That sounded a little bit strange, but you get what I mean. Moving on. Echo closing in onto the back of his teammate, but I would presume that they won't be passing each other as well. They're comfortable. These guys are comfortable right now. Obviously, they're holding off Yortster. And, well, while this is happening, they're actually backing themselves up into Stig. And Stig closing in on these guys. Obviously, he set the fastest lap before that was taken away by Redeemer, which Redeemer not exactly having a good time. Both Alfa Romeos not having a good time. As it stands at the moment, by the way, in that battle for P2 in the Constructors. Obviously, AlphaTauri right now are 8th and 9th. That's for 6 points compared to Gert's 1 point. So as it stands in the moment, the Constructors Championship for 2nd, still closely contested, but right now the gap between them is 43 points. And, well, Alfa Romeo will want to get a 1-2 and hope that AlphaTauri don't get any points if they want any hope of grabbing 2nd place in that Constructors. Red Bull also, they're still technically within this fight. They could still grab 2nd in the Constructors. They're a long ways away, though. So it's going to take a bit for them to close up. But there's still little things to play for in this race. It's really the closest battle is between the between 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the moment. Obviously, 3rd and 4th haven't pitted. The two Mercedes just kind of doing the same thing. They're trailing each other. And, well, Yortster, he's on the mediums. He'll probably have to pit, most likely. The question is when and what tire, because he's going to be rapid. He's going to be rapid, that's for sure. Is Yortster slowly starting to reel in Echo at this stage of the race. Echo starting to fall back behind his teammate now, so Gary well, not clearly, but he seems to have a little bit of pace over his teammate. And remember, these two had a very close qualifying all the way back in Baku, where Echo just managed to grab pole position by 5 milliseconds between himself and Gary. So obviously, these two can be very close when all things considered. Neko still able to stay nicely on the back of Gary. There's a battle for position right there, and that looks to be Gert getting ahead of QuickTongue, and James B has been overtaken by Underdog. Underdog around the outside into turn 1, didn't really need to do that, but he moves himself up into 7th place, and that's going to help AlphaTauri even more as well. They may have lost 1 point, but now they gain 2 more points, so AlphaTauri could very well wrap up P2 in the Constructors. They could very well do it. As meanwhile, Stig closing in lap after lap after lap to the top, to 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the moment. Obviously, he's on better tires. Echo grabs a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Redeemer did as well, though Redeemer's kind of in a world of his own right now, so he can't really do anything of that. But now Echo, 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. And, well, that might be interesting in the latter stages of this race, as Echo under pressure here from Yortster, and, well, luckily for him, Yortster doesn't even come anywhere close onto the back of that Mercedes, though Yortster could have a second bite of the cherry. Is that DRS for Echo? Yes, it is, so Yortster having to stay behind just a little bit longer, and this is helping Echo hold on to that position at the moment. And, well, if Yortster does pit, right now at this stage of the race, as Potato said, he could go to softs. He could go onto a soft compounded tire and just go for fastest lap, potentially. It's a bit of a waiting game for anything to really happen as it stands at the moment. And Lexter, good. Well, first off, nice of you to join us here for Breakout recently. You joined us here for the penultimate round of the season, and, well, if you want to join the league, all you have to do is just join our Discord, which I'll put in right here, right now, and, well, you can follow that link to join into the server, and, well, once you go through the verification, you'll see pretty much everything you need to see to get yourself into the league yourself. As meanwhile, Echo has dived into the pits. Echo into the pits, so instead, it is the, I don't want to say the second Mercedes, it's rude, but it's going to be Echo into the pits first, and he bolts onto a set of soft compound of tire. So that's going to go to the end of this race. So 10 laps for him to the end. And, well, he's going to try and go for fastest lap. And, well, he's going to be in the points for sure. It's just a matter of whether it'll be 9th or 10th. Well, right now it's looking to be 9th, though Quick Tongue closing in down this straight. And, well, could this be a bit of a tussle between these two? Nice camera angle as Quick Tongue tries to look on the inside. But Echo able to hold on just that little bit. And, well, with those soft compounded tires, you should be able to warm up rather quickly. And there you go. And just like that, he's off. Well, just about. Quick Tongue obviously still hanging on. There we go. Now he's off. As we know, Stig has managed to close in onto the back of Yordster. Yordster not quite having the pace to match up to Gary now. And, well, does Yordster dive into the pits? No. So now he's going to be under pressure from Stig here. And Stig has closed up almost a second a lap in the past couple of laps. Well, once again, second bite for Stig. Not exactly able to get the move done into turn 1. He's going to have a chance, though, to go for it into turn 4. And I think Yordster is going to let this one slide. No, he doesn't, actually. He's actually trying to fight it. Stig round the outside into turn 4. Yordster trying to fight it. But the grip of those hards is just that little bit too much compared to Yordster's 18-lap mediums. And Stig moves himself up into 4th place. And Yordster down to 5th. Surely he pits now. Surely. Stig pretty much en route to grab a podium at this stage of the race. It's not at all out of the question. Meanwhile, the front two have kind of just stayed in their own little world. Koenigsegg closing up a tiny bit. Not much, but a tiny bit. Yordster opting to not pit. I wonder how those tires are doing. Let me go on board with him. And those guys don't exactly look pretty. Now the rears. The rears look in better shape than the fronts, that's for sure. So Yordster dealing with quite a bit of tire wear. Gap between Kieran and Koenigsegg, 1.7 seconds as it stands at the moment. Koenigsegg closing in a little bit lap after lap after lap, but it's just not enough. So he's going to need a bit of a miracle if he wants to close in onto the back of that Haas. Haas has been holding on to that lead ever since he took it after Stig pit. And he hasn't really looked back since. He might be looking back a little bit now, though, because Koenigsegg, well, he actually lost a little bit there, but he was gaining a little through the last couple of laps, and now he's lost quite a bit of that time. So Kieran feeling the pressure. He's feeling the pressure now. Lap 30 of this Grand Prix, and Gary has finally elected to go into the pits. Probably a little bit longer than he would have wanted, but one thing's for sure, he's into the pits now. Soft compounded tire there for the Mercedes, unsurprisingly. He should come out behind his teammate by the looks of it. Here he is, going through pit turn 1, and Echo is going through the Senna S's right now, and oh, I don't know if he had a bit of a moment there. But nonetheless, he is going to come out ahead of his teammate, though only, not by much, actually, to be fair, only a second. So Gary still had quite a bit of pace on those hards, surprisingly, despite taking them so long. He's on a set of softs now. So he's going to close out to his teammate. Oh, he actually really closed out to his teammate. What the heck? Where did that grip come from? Excuse me? Anyways, despite that, this is really the closest battle of the moment. Oh, Echo! Echo having a moment there, Verstappen-wise, and I highly doubt this is a puncture. I highly doubt this is a puncture. It's only got 3 laps on them, but now he's lost position to Quick Tongue. As we know, DeCoach and Deemer going at it. Looks like Deemer's actually lost position to DeCoach. So with that, Redeemer's now down to 12th. The coach up to 11th now. But Echo, not exactly sure what happened there. He'll keep it going. He'll keep it going. So now, we're at a bit of a stalemate at the start of the race, but while we're looking at it, that battle for P2 in the Constructors still closely contested. And also that battle for P2 in the Drivers still closely contested. Right now, Underdog is scoring a total of 10 points. Stig currently scoring 15 stands at the moment. So right now, the gap between them going into the final race in Abu Dhabi. If I pull up the timetable, will be 14 points in favor of one Underdog for second in the Drivers. Second in the Constructors, though, could very well be sealed up between the two alphas, because right now Underdog scoring 10, Gert scoring 6, and the Quick Tongue scoring a further 2 points. If my math is correct, 10 minus 6 plus 2, 8 points, I think. Eight minus 6 plus 2. No, that's 4 points. What am I saying? 10 minus 6 plus 2. No, 8 points. There we go. No, what? 6 points. Sorry. Oh, yeah. 6 points as it stands at the moment. So, with that, Alfa Romeo will be on the teetering edge of grabbing second in the Constructors, but right now, AlphaTauri very much have that advantage. Lap 33, Kieran still leads from Koenigsegg, then comes Stig. It's Yardster, Underdog, Janesby, Gert, Gary, Quick Tongue, Echo, rounding out your points paying positions as it stands at the moment. So Underdog, he's considerably closed up onto the back of Yardster. And well, if Underdog does overtake Yardster, that could very well be the deciding factor for AlphaTauri grabbing second in the Constructors. So Underdog is going to be pushing this every step of the way to help AlphaTauri. So right now, this could be one of the closest battles, aside from the coach and Redeemer going at it. It's actually close to being lapped, I just noticed. But anyways, despite that, Underdog considerably closing up onto the back of Yardster. And well, down the straight we go, and DRS wide open for the AlphaTauri. Meanwhile, Redeemer and the coach once again going at it, and looks like Redeemer has managed to get by the Red Bull this time around. Underdog has DRS, but he hasn't really closed up down that straight, and he's got 3 laps left to do it. 3 laps to grab P4 in this race. Not exactly the podium, but still, nonetheless, this is a position he very much wants. This is a position he wants. It's a position he needs if he wants to grab, if he wants to help AlphaTauri. This is the goal. It's right in front of him. He just needs to make one overtake. Actually, this could be another story here. If he doesn't overtake Yardster, Gary could very well overtake Gert. Advantage AlphaTauri for P2. As Redeemer sets the fastest lap with the 1:09.8. And, well, Gary had that earlier, but now that's been snatched away. And, well, this could very well... Well, there's going to be a bit of battling in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. As Underdog closing up onto the back of Yardster down the straight. Is it enough? He's gaining with the DRS. It's not enough. It's not enough to do it. Meanwhile, further behind, what are Gary and Gert saying? Gert holding on down this straight. Gary not really closing up. So straight line speed of the Alfa Romeo has proved useful. Meanwhile, Underdog and Yardster going at it, and Underdog has managed to dispatch the McLaren. Yardster has now been overtaken. Underdog is now up into 4th. And now, right now, AlphaTauri are getting P2 in the Constructors' Championship. And I'm just begging the question, how the heck Yordster is managing to manage those mediums 27 laps, if he can do it. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tough. I can tell you that much. This Gary is closing in as we are on the final lap of the São Paulo Grand Prix. Not exactly the São Paulo Grand Prix that you'd see in real life or naturally in BRL, but it's definitely going to be one that the top two are going to remember, taking 27 laps on those hard compound of tires. It's been a long stretch for these guys as Gary's managed to get past ahead of Gert, and now Gary has moved himself up into 7th. Gert is still going to try and challenge, though. He's still going to try and challenge for this position. It looks like Gary has got it covered, but down the straight we go. Gert is going to have a look with DRS down the straight. Is it going to be enough? Does Gert have that straight line speed? He does, but it's not enough. So with that, AlphaTauri looks set to grab 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship, but nobody's going to grab 1st place from Kieran. Once again, he rises to the occasion. And with his 3rd win of the season, Kieran will come across the line. It's the São Paulo Grand Prix for the Haas. Kieran wins the São Paulo Grand Prix ahead of Koenigsegg. It was hard fought, but Kieran, with the strategy, it's worked out beautifully for him. Koenigsegg, it's not 3rd place. This time, it's 2nd place. But once again, another podium for Koenigsegg. Stig will grab that last podium place. Underdog gave it everything, and he will grab 4th. Crucial for AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri grab P2 in the Constructors' Championship. Yordster, 27 laps on those mediums. He does not have a puncture. He does not have a puncture on 27 lap old mediums. He grabs 5th. James B, a great comeback to finish in 6th ahead of Gary. Then Gert will finish in 8th. Quick Tongue in 9th. Echo rounding out the top 10. Not the most exciting São Paulo Grand Prix, but it was still a good one nonetheless. As Redeemer's going to come across the line, and he's in the wall. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Parked it. Redeemer, unfortunately 11th in this Grand Prix. The coach, not once again, not a good race for the coach. He'll grab 12th, and huh? Why is the safety car out? Huh? Did anybody else see a yellow dot? I don't know if anybody else saw that yellow dot, but anyways. James B will grab driver of the day. Well, it was a topsy-turvy race for James B, but he grabs 6th place, his 1st points of the season in just his 2nd race. But Kieran, pole to the win. He couldn't have asked it any better. Kieran wins the São Paulo Grand Prix ahead of Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg breaks the duct of that 3rd place. He moves himself up into 2nd. Stig gaining crucial points in that battle for 2nd. He outscores Underdog, and the gap between them will now be, if my math is serving me correct, 16 points. Surprisingly, I still have my voice. There you go. Kieran wins the São Paulo Grand Prix. He did it in pretty much full force. Actually, wait, Kieran didn't get pole. My apologies. Right, it was Stig that got pole. My bad. But the top 3 in qualifying, conveniently, were the top 3 in the race. But Kieran grabs it ahead of Koenigsegg. Stig will finish in 3rd ahead of Underdog. Then it is, Yordster in 5th ahead of James B. Then Gary in 7th. Not the best days for our champion. Gert will finish in 8th ahead of Quick Tongue. Echo rounds out your top 10 with Redeemer and the coach, unfortunately finishing out of the points. And we lost Frizy and Lao Balloon from this race. Not the most exciting, but hey, there was still plenty of action here in São Paulo. And we'll quickly get this underway. So with that, drivers, be sure to include your audio as per usual, and we'll get this underway. Stig, P3 here in São Paulo. It was not exactly the most favorable of races. Obviously, that safety car, you planned something different. It didn't exactly work out. But still, with all that, you fought hard, and you still grab a podium. But tell us how that race went for you.
Yeah, I was gonna run a medium to soft strategy, pushing the mediums to lap 24, which I realized at about lap 19 I wasn't gonna build up enough gap, so I just pitted for hards. And yeah, not much I could really do there after messing that up. But I mean, it's not bad for a literal flu race, because I can hardly talk at the moment. It's bad.
Well, even with that, you still fought hard despite that. And well, third place here in São Paulo, and well, you close up a little bit in that battle for second in the drivers, and heading in to the final race of the season. The gap between you and one underdog, if my math is correct, is 16 points. It's a bit of a long haul, but do you think it's still possible to grab second place going into the final race of the season?
I mean, I need underdog to have an absolute shocker of a race if I want to get P2, but never know.
Yeah, we'll just have to find out come next week. But once again, congratulations to you in on the podium here in São Paulo, and with the flu. Like, fair play. Like, you fought for that, and it paid off. With that though,
Thanks.
we'll move over to second place here in São Paulo, and well, I'm usually used to talking to this guy first, but I'm talking to this guy second. Why? Because he finished second place in this race. Koenigsegg. It's still a podium run, but it's no longer third. You grabbed second, and well, that safety car, you played the strategy absolutely perfectly, much like you and Kieran did, and well, second place. How do you feel after that?
A little bit better than third. Yeah, didn't get a good start, but that safety car, I made the right call for a change. I've messed up safety car calls in the last couple of races, so happy with that. I think I got stuck behind one underdog because I was struggling in sector 3. I couldn't get close enough to pass him on the back straight, on the start-finish straight. So that gave Kieran a chance to move away, and I tried hard to catch him, but he was too quick. So happy with second.
Yeah, you fought hard, and well, although it may not be the win, it was not too far off, but still, second place, grabbing that third place curse, I guess you could say. Well, can you call that a curse? Or is it a blessing? I don't know. It's weird. But nonetheless, though... Oh,
given that the win eludes me, that could be a curse, but I'm happy. It's better than
it's
fourth.
Not like Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah. True that.
at least you're still getting podiums, but
Yeah.
it's been maybe a Nick Heidfeld. That's what it is, because Nick Heidfeld doesn't have a win. That's what it is, I think.
Yeah, I got to change that next season, for sure. Even though I liked Nick when I was a kid, I used to like him.
He's a good guy.
He
I know
is.
where he is.
Yeah.
I'll have to find that out. Nonetheless, though, next race, Abu Dhabi, final race of the season. And well, how do you expect this to end? Considering, well, it's been a pretty good season for you, needless to say. Joined in Canada, and well, you've never finished lower than fourth. That's pretty impressive, but what are your expectations going to the final race? Do you think you could potentially grab fourth in the championship?
No, this is my last race of the season. I'm traveling to Scotland next week, so I'll be closer to you guys, but I'll be watching the race from the comfort of a couch or a hotel room.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I would love to see you. I would love to see you race. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone would like to see that. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy your time. And well, it's a good race. It's a good race to end it. Second place here in São Paulo. Congratulations.
Thanks, and congrats to Kieran. Well done, sir.
Oh my gosh, I accidentally muted my mic. Anyways. Anyways, yeah. Going over now to the winner of the São Paulo Grand Prix. And well, Kieran, front row, safety car timed perfectly, went into the pits and took those hards 26 laps. Kieran, you win the São Paulo Grand Prix, your third win of the season. It must feel pretty nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, felt like had good pace, and then me and Koenigsegg I think we done the better strategy pitting on the safety car, then just trying to save the tyres for near the end.
Yeah, and that you did, though. I'm just going to quickly give a mention to this. You think you saved tires? Yordster took 27 laps of mediums. Quick mention to that. Yordster, how'd you manage that? But anyways, though, you managed the pace, you managed the gap, and, well, you pretty much did exactly everything you needed to do. And, well, you take the win here in São Paulo. Next week, Abu Dhabi, final race of the season. Are you going to try and make it a fourth win? Or do you think it might be a little bit of a laid back, but just more importantly, are you going to try and end this season on a high?
Yeah, I'll try go for the win, but Abu Dhabi's probably my worst track, so it'll be hard.
Well, it's also different this game. Let's not forget. It's not the old layout. It's a much more smooth layout. So I don't know if you've already experienced it, but
yeah,
we'll see. I personally like it. This game at least, but yeah, we'll just have to see in just a week's time. But nonetheless, though, best of luck to you, and congratulations on your third win of the season, and congratulations to Koenigsegg and Stig as well for their podiums respectively. With that will wrap up Tier 3 for us tonight. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, though, for Tier 1 and Tier 2, as they shall race around Sao Paulo for the penultimate race of the season. And then, it's all coming to a close. Abu Dhabi, final race of the season at the Yas Marina circuit. It's been a long season, but a very enjoyable one. And we'll start it off with Realistic on Thursday. And then, same time, same place, final race of the season, Abu Dhabi Tier 3. Be sure to tune in with a new layout. Things could definitely be a little bit different to what you expect. But, for me, that's everything. Good day, good night, see you tomorrow for Tier 1.